You know, we could all use some encouragement. And I've got some good news for you. Welcome to 5 Minutes with Mark. Hey, greetings friends, and welcome back to 5 Minutes with Mark. We're picking up our story in the Gospel of Mark chapter 2. We're at verse 23. Now it happened that he went through the grain fields on the Sabbath. And as they went, his disciples began to pluck the heads of grain. And the Pharisees said to him, "Look, why do you do what is not lawful on the Sabbath?" But he said to them, "Have you never read what David did when he was in need and hungry, he and those with him? How he went into the house of God in the days of Abiathar, the high priest, and ate the showbread, which is not lawful to eat except for the priest, and also gave some to those who were with him. And he said to them, The Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Therefore, the Son of Man is also Lord of the Sabbath." Well, here it is. This increasing tension that we're going to see between Jesus and the religious establishment. The Pharisees were the keeper of the rules. They were the ones who were protecting themselves by not only keeping the law of God, but they had built a fence around the law, so there were all these other laws. I mean, God said don't work. Well, how do you define work on the Sabbath? Well, for them, you could walk a prescribed distance, but if you walked too far, that was work. And you certainly weren't allowed to pluck grain off of a stalk. That was work. That was harvesting. Even though it was snacking, because they were hungry and they were walking through a wheat field and they were gleaning, really, which was perfectly okay. Hey, I remember once when I was making deliveries years ago, I was hungry and I found myself driving past an apple orchard and the apples were red and ripe. I jumped out of the truck and pulled one off the tree and I ate it driving down the road. It was great. I've never felt guilty about that. I think the apple tree had enough apples for me to eat one because I was hungry. When Jesus makes the point about the Sabbath, he said, look, God didn't create the Sabbath as a punishment. He didn't give the Sabbath this idea that one day should be set aside for rest and reflection. It wasn't about God saying, look, I'm putting this rule in place, and if you break it, I will punish you. No, Jesus said the Sabbath was made for man. God knew men needed to rest. People would work for 6 days, but everyone needs to take a break. Everybody needs to take a moment to rest and to reflect and to reconnect with their Creator. That's what the Sabbath is all about. A lot of people get tied up about what day is the Sabbath. Well, historically the Sabbath was from sundown on Friday to sundown on Saturday. That was the Jewish Sabbath. For Christians, Jesus rose from the dead on Sunday, the first day of the week. And so we've always celebrated Sunday as the day we set apart for worship. But I think some of us have different work schedules. You need a day, and the day is for you. The day is for you to rest and to reconnect to God. Some people might take a Sabbath on a Tuesday. Jesus doesn't seem to think that the rules are that hard. And he pulls out David, which I think is really interesting. When the Pharisees confront him, he goes, hey, let's talk about David. Because David, of course, was, the great one. David was the great king. And David, when he was running for his life, he gets into the temple. He and his men are all hungry, and there's the showbread. That's the bread that was baked and put up on the altar of God. That would be consumed by the priest, but it was there as a wave offering. It would be waved in the air and then set up on the altar. Well, hey, when you're hungry, that is bread. So he snatches the bread out of the temple, and he runs off to his guys, and they eat it. And God didn't strike them dead. In fact, seemed to be okay. Maybe the purpose of the bread was so that if people were starving, they wouldn't starve. It wasn't about dotting the I's, crossing the T's to make God happy. It was about keeping God front and center in our hearts and minds. And so Jesus concludes that the Son of Man is the Lord of the Sabbath. This is a pretty interesting statement, because what he's just told the Pharisees is that, look, you guys can keep the rules if you want, but I'm the rule maker. I and my Father are one. I am the Son of God. Son of Man, another idea, another connection to God. And what Jesus just said is, I made the rules, and I can break them if I want to. And actually, the way you're keeping them is all wrong, because you've missed the spirit of it. This is going to be a growing conflict that eventually is going to lead to outright war between the Pharisees and Jesus. See you next time. I hope you're enjoying this Bible study, this quick devotion. If you'd like more content, you'd like to know more about me and see more of the things that I'm doing, check out my website, theeclecticmonk.com. There you'll find out about my video vlog, my podcast, and a whole lot of other stuff. Hope you'll join me there. Thanks.